me get to the part that is related to the golf course, tennis, and pool. Let's go through that, and then we'll get through the rest of the stuff that we have prepared for you, and then we'll go to the questions and answers. So there was in our previous communication to you, we talked about where some of the money would be spent that we're going to essentially borrow. And we talked about the golf course in specific, the grounds committee, working with Jeff, working with Ed, working with Sean, working with a number of your peers. We ended up coming up with a practice facility that will be on the west side that will help us with our putting and our chipping. So this is not about the driving range, it's really about the immediate area just outside the back west area that Brad just showed you. There will be construction going on out there that would make a lot of sense that when we're tearing it up with heavy equipment, to go ahead and repair that and spend the money on, as I said, the chipping and putting practice area. In addition to that, Scott will talk here in a few minutes about some of the other data that we collected where this is a pretty big amenity that people seem to be attracted to as they're looking at joining a club and having that overall experience. On the golf course, one of the things that we learned also, and we sent you all information about this, is that the course needs to have more family-friendly tees, and the 5-horse tees, if you remember last year, were just sort of planted in the ground at various locations, really kind of in the fairway. They weren't really tee boxes, and so people that would maybe normally want to play that felt a little bit like, is this really a tee box, or is just somebody setting some kind of a temporary spot out there for us? And so they really didn't take advantage of that. There is some money involved in that, so we're going to go ahead and spend the money to do those tees across the course. We believe that that's a pretty big value to attract those new members, as well as to make it more friendly to our current members as well. Renovating some greens, number 11, 15, 16, and 17, per the master plan. If you haven't seen the master plan hanging in the grill area, you can look at that, and it shows in pretty good detail what we're talking about. Sean, have we uploaded that file to the box yet?
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, thank you.
It's on that link.
Okay, so the link that was sent to you were the files that were all out there that contain all of our data. You have the ability to download that, and you can actually zoom in and get a better perspective of what those greens might look like, maybe versus trying to look at a hanging art on the wall. And then lastly, we're looking at having a bridge that's not temporary. So any of you that play between 11 and 12, you can see there's a bunch of woodland and that ditch down there, that washout, where that's where they can walk across now to get to those tees that are on the other side. We're going to actually build a bridge there that'll be a little more appropriate for our members. Okay. All right, on the swimming tennis facilities, the swimming pool, we're talking about a new kiddie area, a new kiddie pool. The pool that's out there now, are the no tats here? No. They will tell you that their kids have been in that pool 31 years ago, and it's the same pool as it was 31 years ago. And the one thing that you probably don't know, and we probably shouldn't publicize this a whole lot, is that it's not filtered, which creates all kinds of problems, as you can imagine. So we need to do something about that. We need to make that a better amenity for our members. I have 2 grandchildren who I'd love to bring to the pool. I don't bring them for the various reasons I just gave you, but that's going to change. We're talking about splash pad type of thing. You've seen those features at other parks, or even over at the Orchard. They've got them in the mall area there. Play structures, and then reworking the fencing. And I'll show you an image here in just a minute of what we think that might look like. And some also, last year, the board approved those new white shade structures that are between the tennis and the pool. We're going to add some more of those on the south as well, so that it all looks the way that it should, and it just cleans that whole area up. On the tennis side, we're looking at one of the things that we heard from our tennis folks was we have a lot of outside play. The experience doesn't feel like a real tennis club. It feels very sort of bolted on to the club. And so we're going to try to change that feel. So we'll direct traffic through the pro shop and control it, if you will. And that's what the feedback from the tennis folks said that would be very helpful for them. So that's part of the plan. And then a gathering structure between the bubble and the outdoor courts. Again, I'll show you an image of that. And then some type of improved seating so that when we have tournaments, folks can actually enjoy that. So this is probably really difficult to see, but the pool being right here to the south of it is where we're talking about where the kiddie pool is, the shade structures would be. And let me just take you right to what that might look like. You can see that oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was better. The kid pool with the water feature, little play structure, the reef fencing so that we have a place for those kids to play and be safe. And then again, the existing shade structure, additional shade structure on the south side of the pool. On the tennis side of things, outside the bubble, between the pro shop and the bubble, what we're talking about there is a structure that has the same ranch style that gives those tennis folks the ability to have a gathering place, use the picnic tables to have their lunch without having to maybe come all the way back to the clubhouse, allow them to really do pre-function events and post-function events there as well. Okay? Renovation costs. I'll take you through this real quick. We've talked about this. We sent you the information. I want to drive it home again. The total dollars that we're talking about borrowing from the bank is $5.5 million. 4.8 of that will be poured into the clubhouse. $500,000 of it will be poured into the golf course, and the other $200,000 will be the pool and the tennis. Based on the research that we've done, we believe that those numbers are adequate for what we're trying to accomplish. Not to mention the fact that the feedback we've gotten from folks like Mark and other country clubs, this is all in line with what they've done, and I think we're headed in the right direction. On top of all that, if you were here on the 4th of March, we have banks that are very, very, very interested in helping us achieve our goals and help us with the project. The financing, we've talked about that again. We've shown you in the letter we sent to you. If you all remember, we had an assessment at the end of last year, and we told you, should a vote pass, that assessment will go towards the overall financing of the project. So a year ago, we told you there was a $4,000 assessment. We're calling it an investment. That $900 that we assessed in October, November, December will apply towards that $4,000. So the real dollar amount we're talking about now is an additional $3,100. And as it states up there, we'll use that money to retire the existing note that we have. The banks want to have the first position on mortgage, so we have to get the current bank out of the way to allow that to happen. And then also have some funds to be able to withstand any member attrition that we might experience and any downturn in revenues that we'll experience as a result of the whole project. And then in addition to that, we have, as we proposed last year, a $50 debt service fee that will be monthly for golf members, and then it's prorated accordingly. And we have that broken down as was previously sent to you. Okay? Scott, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, so, before we get into the meat of this, I do want to follow up on one thing Mike said. Obviously we were standing up here about a year ago, and, I think at that point in time, the message we got from some of our members was you need to do better. And I think we need to thank them for telling us that, because I think it really forced us to go back, look at everything we did, look at the design. I hope you'll agree that the design is a much better and more thorough one than the last one that we looked at. And also look at the due diligence and check the assumptions and check them again and make sure that we're doing things for the right reasons and on the right basis. And so I think we need to thank those members who challenged us to go do that, for making us do that, because I think it puts us in a better position to succeed. Having said that, you all probably got the March 1, 2005 letter. There's a problem we're trying to deal with up here at the club, and it's a financial one. Okay? Over the last 7 years, we have consistently been experiencing average annual attrition of about 5% annually. That attrition has been placing a very significant financial burden on the club. In constant dollar terms, if we look at what that membership loss has cost us, we have lost $500,000 in annual income over the last 7 years as a result of that attrition. That's a huge number. That attrition, it's not as though it's an industry-wide thing. You look at the other clubs in the Denver metro area, and we'll talk about them a little bit more, and Mark will give us a first-hand account. But that is not something that is happening elsewhere. Yes, during the recession, other clubs experienced attrition, but those clubs that have taken steps to bring their product offering in line with market expectations have seen the rebound and then some. Many of them are now full, and we have not experienced that rebound because we do not have a product offering that is in line with market expectations. The problems that we're seeing from the losses in our revenue are being exacerbated by the other side of the balance sheet. During that same 7-year period, we've seen a 23% increase in labor costs. As the north side of town has gotten more developed, we're seeing more competition for the skilled people that we need to go get to provide you all with the member experience you deserve. And to get those people in here and to get people who are going to do the job that you deserve, it costs more money. And so we have two competing sides of the balance sheet. We also have some capital needs. Now, we've talked about this, we won't spend too much time on it, but we did a capital study, long-term capital study, and we look at 5-year chunks. And our next 5 years for capital needs, they're in excess of $3 million. What that leaves us with is basically a significant budget deficit. When we sat down with the Finance Committee in February to look at what would be our budget for next year if we cannot do something to reverse the membership trend, the first question was, well, can we project any membership gain? And the answer was no, we don't have a basis to, we haven't seen that. Not without something to change the tenor of what's been happening. Second question was, can we even project flat membership? And the answer was no. We haven't seen flat membership even for the last 7 years. So the Finance Committee concluded that if we don't do something to reverse the current trend, we're looking at a membership decline probably at least consistent with what we've seen in the past. When you figure that into the equation and still figure in a 5% dues increase, which is the most we've done in any of the years that I've been on the board, you still end up with an operating loss of $163,000. It's the first time we've ever been in the red. It's a significant problem. And to solve that problem, you're looking at very significant changes in the way we would have to do business. That's on top of a capital shortfall of $160,000, and that's with a maximum assessment of $900 some odd dollars. So the short answer is, looking at the budget next year, we got a problem. We don't have enough money to run the club the way we're accustomed to running. So that means that without doing something to address the operational deficits and the shortfalls, we're going to change. And effectively, we're here today because we're going to change starting at the end of this month either way. We're either going into a new budget year in which we're going to have to do dramatic cuts because we don't have enough money to fund it, or we're going to go into a new budget year in which we're going to start investing in our facilities to put our product offering more in line with what other people are offering and with what the market expects. And we have every reason to believe that if we do that, we will see positive results. And that's the next thing we'll talk about. So a lot of the comments we got the last time around were, how do we know this is going to work? And there's no, but there is we did all of our homework and we did the best we can to ascertain that. And we did that this time. So the first step with that was getting THK, who's an independent consulting firm, to do a feasibility report. And when THK did that, and I'm sure many of you either read the report or were here at the discussion on the 4th, they looked at our demographics, they looked at our market area, they compared us to the market areas of other clubs who are thriving and full right now, and they said, look guys, it's not your market area. Your market area is better than a lot of your competitors. Your market area is better than Rolling Hills. Your market area is better than Lakewood in terms of qualified candidates. It's your product offering. It's what you're putting out to the market. And they said, if you put a product out that is consistent with what today's private club consumer wants and desires, they said we could support a $6 million renovation. And they said that we could grow our income and grow our membership to the point where we're throwing off the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we lost in revenue because of the membership.